This conference will now be recorded.
So let's get started. Yesterday we were talking about version control systems, right? What a version control system does. What are the major tasks of a version control system? So these were the things we were discussing yesterday. So let us recollect them quickly and let's proceed with the architecture of a version control systems. See here, like depending on the architecture, they were categorized. Like we understood what is a version control system. Let me give a quick recap of a version control system. Your version control system can help you manage your files in the project. Like it can help you version control your files, have backup of your files. Please keep muted everyone. So this can help you maintain versions. It can help you maintain log of the changes happening to the files in the project. It can help you allow people to work simultaneously on the files. So this is very important in real time when you are working in a team and when you have huge number of files. So that's how it can be used, and it is used by developers. It's a mandatory for them because they write a lot of code. Even testers use it, right? Even ops persons, ops teams, particularly DevOps teams, where they work with different tools and they have a lot of files to manage. So everyone will be using this version control system. So now let us understand, depending on the architecture, how they were categorized. See, depending on the architecture, they were categorized as centralized version control systems and distributed version control systems. So how they were categorized? What is meant by centralized? See here, you can look into this architectural diagram wherein you are seeing something called server. Server is nothing but a remote server where all the project code or else all the files of your project are kept. That is considered as a remote server or else central server. And here you are seeing working copy, right? Those are the workstations of individual users or individual developers. Like if you see here, this is the workstation of developer 1 or else a DevOps person 1. You may consider a DevOps person or a developer, whoever want to manage the files. So DevOps person 2, right? So developer 3 or DevOps engineer 3. So these are the workstations of different users. Now they all have to work with this project which is kept on some remote location. So they'll be all connecting to this remote server or central server where all the project would be kept. So let's suppose this is my workstation. Yes, I'll connect to this remote server, get the changes to my local computer, make the changes here and put the changes back. So this is how centralized version control systems work. Simple. So we need to just connect to the remote server. Any files we need to modify, we'll get to our local computer, make the changes back. Make the changes and put it back. So that's how it works. So there are some drawbacks with this kind of architecture. The first drawback is if this central server is down or crashed for some reasons, entire changes will be lost. Like it's like a central server, means it's like a single point of contact, or else you are having all the code at this point, right? So if the changes for some reasons, if the central server is crashed, chances of recovery are very less. That's one thing. Another thing is always we need to have network connections intact, right? We need to have network connection to connect to this remote server so that I can get the changes, work on it and put it back, right? Always network connections should be there. If for some reasons network disconnected, entire work will be halted. So this is how centralized systems work, right? And these are the drawbacks of this kind of architecture. So to overcome this, there came another kind of architecture called distributed version control systems. Let me show you the distributed version control systems. See here, if you look into this, again we have a central server or remote server where all the project code base is, and this is the workstation of each individual user. Okay, this is a workstation of individual user. So let's suppose, okay, this is my workstation. I'm working here. Okay, and here if you notice, I'm not directly working again on the repository. Means, see here, what is this repository and this one? See, in distributed version control systems, there are two repositories. One is called as central repository or a central server, and the other one is called as the local repository, which resides on every user's workstation, every developer workstation. Remote server or a central server, and then the local repository. Repository is nothing but a project, a directory where all the project or the code bases, right? It's a repository where you put all the project work, all the project files. So every user, every developer will get a copy from this remote and create a local repository, meaning every user is having a copy of remote repository. And again, I don't directly work here. Rather, I'll be working on some other directory called the working directory or else working copy. Means imagine it's like another folder. So I'll be working here, then I'll move my changes to local. Means I'll move my changes to local repository. From local, I'll push those changes to remote repository. Right? That is the architecture of this distributed version control systems. I'm repeating. See, every user will have a copy of this remote repository into their local system, into their workstation. So now we don't directly work here again, rather we'll work on this local repository. Once code changes are done here, we'll push them to remote. So this is how it works. And here, if you notice, if I want to push my changes to remote, then only we need network connection, right? We need network connection only to pull or push. That's all. Only for these two we need remote connection. I mean network connection, right? Suppose let's say network connection is disconnected. We don't have networks. Network is disconnected, but still you can work on your local repository, make the changes. Once the connection is restored, then we can move to remote. Isn't it? Means work is not halted. You can still continue working here. You need not get connected to the remote server always. Right? So meaning no network connections required always. Even though network connection is not there, you can just work here. But you need network only to push. Right? Until then, you can still continue working. So it overcomes the drawback of centralized systems. Another thing is we are having a copy of remote repository. Every user will have a copy of remote repository. So for some reasons, even though the central server is crashed or lost, chances of recovery are more because every user is having a copy of remote, right? So that's how distributed version control systems are more effective and efficient to handle the modern projects. Like nowadays, all the projects wherein we are having lot of code base, lot of files will be managing. So this is the best kind of architecture to deal with, right? And here another important point to notice. Until your changes goes to remote, let's suppose my changes are in this local repository, right? Those are confined only for myself. Until I push them to remote, no one else can see those changes, right? So only see till here those changes are only for myself. If they are doing good, then I'll push to remote so that other developers, other users in the project can see those changes, right? So that's one thing. And another thing is, like I already said, we'll be working on some working directory. Once they are good, we'll move them to local, from local to remote repository. It's like a 3 steps before your changes goes to remote repository, right? So yeah, see here I'm working on this repository, other person is working, so he might be also pushing changes, we'll be pushing the changes. There may be some conflicts like we have seen yesterday, right? One person changes may be overwritten by the others, right? So how to handle it, those are all the scenarios we are going to look at. So this is the architecture of distributed version control system. And another advantage is most of the times, majority of the times, we work on local repository. Only once the complete changes are done from my end, I may push to remote. Correct? So push and pull are less frequent commands. We most of the times work here. Correct, isn't it? Once complete work is done, I'll push to remote. So majority of the times I'll work here. Means I'm working in my own workstation. I need to just access my hard drive to work with this. So it also works faster. So distributed version control systems are faster. Chances of recovery are more in case of failure. Then yeah, multiple people can work on it. It can handle well. This version control system can handle well. And also network connection need not be there always. Even though network is disconnected for some time, you can still continue working on it. So these are all the advantages of distributed version control system. And yes, our Git comes under distributed version control system. Right? This is the architecture of distributed version control systems in general. Okay, like you have Git, you have TFS, Git, Mercurial, Fossils, all this comes under distributed. Okay, TFS comes under centralized. So these are some of the examples of version control systems which implements this architecture. Right? So this is the architecture of distributed version control system. Now let us get into the architecture of Git in particular. Hope you're all clear with this part. See, when you compare Git with other version control systems like SVN, TFS and all, the blue graph is Git. Clearly, it is very widely used tool, right? So now, yeah, here comes the architecture of Git. So let us look into this architecture. Like we discussed just now, Git is having like two repositories, local repository and remote repository, right? And see here, we will create, how is this local repository created? Like you can create a copy from this remote and create a local repository. And like we were talking, we don't directly work here. You work on some other folder, some other directory called working directory. Then again, from working directory, you cannot move your changes this way. Okay, then how do your changes goes to local? There is something called staging area or else index area. It's basically a virtual layer which exists between your working directory and local repository. Right, this is like a virtual layer or else an index area which exists between them. And how do changes goes in? First, we'll move our changes from working directory to staging area. Then from staging area to local repository. This is how our changes goes. You cannot just directly push from here to here. No, that's not possible, right? So in between working directory and staging area, there'll be something called staging area or index area between working directory and local repository. So first you have to move your changes there, from there to local, from local to remote. So this is how Git works. See that there are 3 steps before your changes goes to remote and before others can see your changes, right? See, this is theoretically, okay? Just understand theoretically. In few minutes, I'll show you practically how these layers work, how you do these changes, how do you move them and all. And then here, another question you may have is, what is the importance of the staging area, isn't it? Why this is available? Has it got any importance?
Madam, I have one question.
Yes.
Means if you want to take the data from the remote, is it the same vice versa? Like remote to local, local to staging area and
Correct.
working directory? Like
No. From remote to local, you can get the changes. Remote repository, local repository. This is directly
okay,
you can get the changes.
okay,
Right.
okay.
So what is this importance of staging area or virtual layer? See, the importance of this layer is it works like a preview or else pre-check before your changes goes to local. Meaning, see, suppose I'm having 10 files in this working directory. Let's suppose I'm having some 10 configuration files. I want to move them to local. Sorry, only 5 of them I want to move to local. So what we can do here, I will add only those 5 files to staging area. Okay. Then whenever I run commit, whatever in the staging area will be seen in the local repository. Means I can have a better control on which changes will go to local repository, right? So this is one of the small example to help you understand the importance of the staging area. It's like a preview or else a pre-check or else to have a better control on what changes are moving into your local repository, right? So this is the basic architecture, working directory, staging area, local repository. Means if you want to put any changes here, first you will make your changes, like you create your files here, sorry, working directory, then move them to staging area, then to local. From local repository, when you push, it goes to remote. Means this is shared with all other developers or all other DevOps persons in our project, in our team. So others can see your files, they can also work on the changes you have made, right? So this is the architecture of Git. And here let me tell you few more points. Yeah, see, how do you create this local repository? Creating local repository, LR, local repository. This local repository can be created in two different scenarios or else different use cases. Let me tell you use cases. Let's suppose you joined the team as a new member. Okay, already project is there on remote. They are working on the project. DevOps project is already there. It was implementing, and you join the team as a new team member. Now, how do you create local repository in your workstation? You can copy from remote and create a local repository, right? This is one use case, how you create local repository. Another thing is, let's suppose we are completely, it's a fresh project. Okay, we are starting a new team as a DevOps team, and it was a new project. So there was nothing on remote. So what you can do, you can create local repository manually in your workstation. You can create a local repository manually, like of course, first an empty local repository, then put the files there, then put your scripts, configurations, then you can move to remote. Right? Basically, how do you create local repository? Local repository can be created in two ways. One is by copying from a remote. Another one is create local repository manually, develop the project here and push to remote. Right? And where does these scenarios come? That's what I have explained, the two use cases. We'll look into both of them, how to create by copying from remote, how to create manually. First, we'll take up this scenario today. This scenario may be tomorrow. So we'll start with assuming it's a completely new project. Let's say we are a team of 10 people. So we'll be creating a local repository and then we'll push to remote. So this is one thing you need to note, an interesting part of how do you create local repository. Another point is, this is again another interesting part. See, till now I'm talking about this working directory, local repository are two separate directories, and you work on working directory, then move your changes to local, right? But here, if you check into this working directory, local repository are physically the same directory. Physically, it's again the same directory. Then how come you say working directory and local repository? Isn't it? Physically they are same, but logically they are different. What does it mean exactly? Isn't it? Let me tell you, this is going to be really interesting. Imagine this is a folder or a directory. Okay, suppose I just created a file here. Okay, this is some directory or a folder. I just created a file. I just created a file means it is said to be in the working directory. Then I'll run a command called git add that file. Then it is said to be in the staging area. Okay, then if I run the commit called git commit, then it goes into local repository. Understood? Means it's one and the same folder, but logically it's different, right? So how it is, we'll see. First, we'll go to our system and we shall install Git and we shall start working with this architecture first. Like I'll show you first creating a local repository. How come working directory, local repository, same directory and all, we'll see. Understood everyone till this part? Should I repeat anything or any questions from anyone? See, these concepts should be very clear. These are the very important concepts in Git. We come across people working on some version control systems, but with lacking this basic architecture, lacking knowledge of this basic architecture. But if you know this architecture, if you know what is happening at the back end, you can enjoy working with any tool. So these concepts should be very much crystal clear. Make sure the things are clear before we proceed. Can I go ahead? You can confirm me through the chat window. Let me know to proceed. Shall we move on?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you all. Any question you can let me know. Now let us go ahead. So now let us install Git. Let's create a local repository and let's see this working directory, staging area, local repository practically to get complete clarity. We just discussed theoretically, right? Now let's see that practically. So another important thing, Git works on multiple operating systems. Okay, Git works on Windows, Git works on Linux, Git works on Mac. So you can use Git on any operating system of your choice. Okay, if you want to work on Linux operating system, perfectly fine. Like yesterday, I mean the previous session, we have created an EC2 instance, right? So go to that AWS console, create an EC2, I mean already instance is created, right? You can use the same instance. You can just log into it. How to connect to it also we have seen in the previous classes. So just connect to it. Git installation also we have done. Install Git and you can work on it, right? So just connect the start the instance, connect to it and you can work there. Or else if you want to work it on Windows, that is also perfectly fine. How to install Git on Windows also we have seen. Do you remember, all of you? When we want to install Git bash, we have done that.
Yes, ma'am.
So according to your preference, you can choose the operating system. Okay, if you are using Linux, that is fine. Where the commands are same. Okay, whether you use Linux or whether you do it on Windows, Git commands are same. So you can choose your own environment and start working with it. Okay, you just connect and do it from Linux. I'm doing it on Windows. Git is already installed in the previous classes for Git bash. So just let me launch my Git bash. Please keep muted. Nikita, please keep muted. So yeah, let us create some directory. Means, see, I want to create my project. Okay, so choose some directory on your workstation. So let's suppose I want to create a directory on my desktop. Okay, yeah, I'm creating here a directory called a new folder. I would like to give some name as git demo folder. Okay, so just open this. Now you can go and run the commands from here, or else let me show you another interesting part. See, now we are going to create a files, right? Maybe from here I can use touch command, or else like I have shown you yesterday, you may use vim here also because I'm using git bash. Okay, or else you can also use some good editors like IDEs, right? You may use any notepad, notepad++, or else you can use some IDEs like how we use it in a real time. Here I'm going to use something called Visual Studio Code. I would suggest you to use the same. Okay, this is for Windows. If you are doing it on Windows, you can go for it. Okay, you can choose this Visual Studio Code editor. You can install it. Here is the link for that. The links, everything were there in the drive. Okay, here is the link in the Google Drive Git references document. I have placed the link to download Visual Studio Code editor. It's a code editor. Any editor you can use. If you don't want to use editor, simple notepads can also be used. But this is the best practice. Okay, why this is a best practice? Where comes the importance of it? We'll discuss. So we'll discuss them once we go and start using some Terraform, Ansible, and so on. So now, okay, launch this Visual Studio Code. Now I have created some folder here, right? I'm showing you that in 3 ways. In some time I'll just stick to the editor, but initially let me show you. See, here is the folder. Just come here, file, open that folder here. Means I want to put all my project files here. Right? So this is the one. Now here also go to that folder from git bash, copy this address, cd space, go to the directory. See, I'm in this git demo. Now this is where I want to put all my project files. So means this is the directory which I want Git to version control. I want Git to track this directory. Whatever files, whatever content is there, I want Git to version control this. And also I'm taking up the second use case now. The use case is, like I said, like it's a new project. Okay, there's nothing on remote. What are remote repositories, how to work with it also we'll cover. Okay, we'll cover from the basics till the advanced concepts of Git. Almost all the concepts will be covered. So just let's go one by one. Now I would like to make this as a Git local repository. Okay, assuming that's a new project, there's nothing on remote. So I want to version control all the files here. So how do you create Git local repository? With the command git init. Can you see the font clearly? Should I zoom in more? Git init means git init is a command which will initialize Git, which will start Git. Means Git is installed on my system. Installation is fine, software is installed. But which directory Git should version control? It's not that entire system is not version controlled, right? So which directory Git should version control? Go to that directory and do git init. Okay, when you do git init, means this becomes a local repository. Git will be initializing here, means Git will be keep on tracking all the files whatever are present in this. And also see here, whenever I run git init, it shows you like initialize empty Git repository and .git file will be created. See here, can you see it's a hidden file? Okay, so you have to select the option under view to select the, to see the hidden items. Then only you will see this. Okay, here also if you want to see the hidden files, when you do ls, you cannot see it. You can do -a, you can see the .git. Right? So now this git demo directory is a local repository. Local repository is created, but of course there are no files yet. I'll put my files now, but this is how
Madam.
local repository is created.
Hello, madam.
Tell me.
I have one basic question. Git is nothing but a Git bash, right? Both are same.
Git
software.
bash is a terminal. Okay, Git bash is a terminal which provides you some bash environment. Means in simple terms, it provides you some Linux environment on your system to work with. Okay, it's just a terminal, an interface to work with. When you install
Git
Git,
is a
you'll
tool.
get interface downloaded.
So it means if I install Git, automatically I can use Git bash, right?
Yes, you can. When you install Git on Windows, you'll get Git bash also installed.
Okay, thank you.
So now there are no files. Let us create some file. Like I said, you have to create file with a touch or a Vim, or else because I'm doing on Windows, you may double click and do it. Or else I would prefer this editor. Okay, now let us click this new file. Let me tell you, let me put some name as you can create any files, because see here our interest is not to learn any programming language. First I should learn Git to version control any files. So you may create some text files are also fine, like file1.txt. Okay, this is the importance of this editor. It will help you write better. So let's say this is a first file in my repository or whatever. Okay, now tell me, I have created a file. I have created a file means where is it? Is it a working directory or what is this? We just discussed, right, this git demo. What is this git demo? You may also, in this editor, you may also launch terminal here. Okay, see here also you can work. Right, let's see what happens. I have just created a file. Now let us run git status and see what it tells. Git status will tell you the status of your files. You can run here, or else in git bash you can do anything is fine. See, when you do git bash, it says on branch master. Ignore this, we'll talk about it later. Come here. Untracked file means Git knows there is a file. Git know there is a file. Okay, there is a file in the directory, but Git is not tracking it. Git will not track it. It is untracked. What is the meaning of untrack? Yeah, means it is not tracking this file, and also it is giving you a clue. It is telling you that to track it, git add means always refer to this architectural diagram. It is asking me to add, means where is the file now? Can you tell me where is this file? Simple logic, it is asking me to add.
The working directory.
Exactly, it's in the working directory. Means this git demo folder is nothing but my working directory. This git demo is nothing but my local repository. Okay, this is same. This is my local repository. This is also my working directory, but logically it's different. Got it now what I explained few minutes back? Physically it's the same. Logically it's different. So the same directory is a working directory. The same directory is a local repository. Now it says untracked and it is asking us to add it. Okay, I'll add it. Git add file name. Okay, now done. Let us see the status now. See, changes to be committed. Can you tell me now where is the file? Changes to be committed means where is this file?
In the staging
area.
Staging area, that's all. So it's a virtual layer, like I told you, right? It's not any physical directory, it's a virtual layer. So it tells you where are we? Yeah, you may also work in the same terminal here, or else you can do this. Okay, so it says that changes to be committed. If you want, you can check the status again. It says changes to be committed. Okay, I'll commit it. How do you commit? Git commit -m, M for message. Message flag is mandatory. Okay, you cannot skip that. Give some message, like it is about first file in my repository, something like that. This message is important because these commits will be registered whenever you commit. Okay, whenever you run this commit command, a commit ID will be generated. Commit ID is nothing but a hash code or an alphanumeric. Okay, every commit command will generate this ID and it will have this message. Message is like a comment. Comment means later on if you want to understand what this commit is all about, so you could give some reasonably good message like this is about some so and so changes, or this is about automating the infrastructure, or else this is about deploying Docker containers, some message about your changes you have made in the file, right? So git commit -m. Let us run this. See here, it says create mode, and now if you check the status, it's clean. Means, can you tell me where is the file now?
In local repo.
Local repository, right? Means see, physically it's in the same directory, but logically this is how it's different. Interesting, isn't it? Shall we repeat it with another file so that you should be clear with this concept of moving the files from local to, a working directory to staging and then to local. Shall
Yes,
we
sure.
repeat with another file?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, you should
Yeah,
be
yeah.
on. Yeah, let us create another file. Let's say file2.txt. Okay, I'm creating another text file. This is the one. Okay, let me put some name, something like this is our second file. You may write anything here. If you know some programming, you may write that, or if you want to write some shell scripts, you may, whatever content you want, you can write it. So that's not our interest. So you may just write anything to learn it. Now ls, see, ls will show the files in the directory, right? So both are shown
Ma'am,
because
you connected to Git, right? Not Git bash. It's
connected.
this command prompt is Git, right? This screen. You
Yes, yes,
are writing all these commands for Git bash.
yes, git bash. I'm writing all of these commands on the git bash. So ls is listing the files. Now, now can you tell me where is my file to? I need answers from all of you. You can unmute and speak out. Where is this file?
Working directory.
In workstation.
Demo file. Git demo folder.
Of course, it is in the git demo. I mean, in this architecture.
Working directory.
Working directory.
Working directory.
Correct. So git demo is the folder name. Correct. It is in the same folder and it is in the working directory. And what will be status message telling us? Yes. What would this message tell us now?
It is not committed.
It is not committed. It will tell you when it is in the staging area. See, always keep this architectural diagram in your mind. You should keep this architectural diagram always in your mind and relate to the things. Okay, it is we just created now. It is in the working directory. So what it will tell? It will tell us like it's untracked. It's not getting tracked. Please add it to track it. Correct? So before, okay, let me show you. See here, untracked file 2, like we have seen for file 1, it is asking us to add. So this is in the working directory. So ls will show all the files in a working directory. I'll show you another interesting command. Git ls files. Git ls files will show the files only in a local repository. Now, can you tell me the output of this command? Git ls
File1.txt.
Yeah, only file 1. Only file 1. See that? Right? Because only that is there in the local repository. Right? So if you want to check the files in local repository, this is how you can do. All right, coming back, okay, I want to put it into staging area. What should I do?
Git add.
Add.
Add, exactly, git add file name. If you want
File
to
name.
add all the files, git add dot. Dot means all the files in there will be added.
Files.
So I'm adding git add file2.txt. So this file will be added to the staging area.
Ma'am, suppose if you use dot, again file1 will be added to local.
No, it's already added, right? Whatever in your working directory will be added. It is already there in local repository. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And now if you see the say status, it will tell us to, it will ask us to commit, isn't it? So let's see this. Let's see the status. Say changes to be committed means it's in the staging area now. It will ask us to commit. Here you need to note one more thing. See, we are adding and then committing, right? Whenever you run this commit command, whatever files in your staging area, everything will be committed, right? Means let's suppose in your staging area 10 files are there. When you run the commit command, all of them will be committed. See, in the commit command, you don't need to provide the file name. Understood? So suppose in the staging area, there are 5 files. All of them will be committed. And now if you check the status, so it's a clear. These basics should be very, very clear so that you can understand working with the Git, moving your files around, right? So that's how your changes goes to local repository.
Ma'am,
Let me
if we give that file name while committing, like
only
file
that
to,
file will be committed. If you want to commit only one single file, that is also possible. Generally, what we do git add, okay, and then we do git commit. Suppose if you want to commit only single file, git commit that file name like file1.txt -m message. Okay, only
but
that
you
file
have
will
given
be.
their second file, no, ma'am.
This command we were using. We are not mentioning any file name when we are committing. Whatever in staging area will be committed, but of course I'm having only one each file at a time. That file is going to be committed.
So if there are any, there are many files.
Many files in the staging area.
All will be
Yes.
committed, right, to staging area.
Yes, when you run git commit, whatever in your staging area, all of them will be committed. Okay.
Ma'am, but you
Or
have given there a second file, no? So what does that mean? You have mentioned second, right? There in the
where is
in
it?
the git bash, yeah.
Ma'am, it's just a message name, ma'am. He's asking.
No, in the git bash.
He just gave second message
op-
name, ma'am. That's he's asking about that.
Yeah, there you have mentioned
second file,
second
some
file,
message.
Okay.
Like earlier, I have given first file in some message of your choice. Any message you can give. Second file means it doesn't mean this one. Some message of your choice, so that you could understand what that commit is doing.
Okay. Sorry, yeah.
And yeah, some of you are asking like, yes, whenever you commit this way, git commit -m, whatever in the staging area, let's say 10 files are, everything will be committed. In my case, only one file is there, that's committed. Otherwise, whatever there in the staging area will be committed. Clear, all of you? Clear with everyone? Okay. And
Yes.
now, till now, how many times we run the commit command? Yes?
2 times.
2 times.
2 times, right? If I want to see, like I said, every commit will generate a commit ID, a hash code, an alphanumeric hash. You can see them with git log. Git log command will show you the complete commit history, including the commit ID. See here, every commit will generate this hash code. Okay, and including the author name. I didn't give any details, so it was just taking the default ones, and then the date, the timestamp, and the commit message. Got it now, Kishore? This is the message we have just given, right? So it will tell, means you should give a reasonably good message so that later on you can understand, okay, in this comment it's about my first file, here I have created some second, some kind of messages. Maybe like I said, you may give comment like this, change is related to automating some Docker container. Kind of messages you may give, whatever change you have done, right? So this is how you can see, and you need not refer this entire commit ID. First 7 characters are enough. And if you want to see only the brief log, simple log, git log 1 line, history of commits will be shown. See, just the simple log with first 7 characters and the commit message, right? You can also see what changes happened in this commit. I'll show you this commit in some time. Before that, we have another topic we'll talk about. We'll see this commits, what is inside it also in some time. Clear till this much, all of you? Adding, committing Clear, all of you?
Yes,
Creating a
ma'am.
file means
Yes, ma'am.
it is in the working directory, then add it, it goes into the staging area, then commit it. Keep this diagram in your mind. Now, let us take up another interesting scenario.
Madam, one question. So without Visual Studio also we can create only with the Git Bash, right? Directly.
Of course, touch commands, Vim commands we have learned yesterday, right? You can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
here, I'll
Okay,
create
okay.
now with Git Bash. Visual Studio Code is whenever you are writing SB progress, will be using some YAML files and so on. So then it would be more comfortable. Similarly, if you want to write some Java programs for practice also, this would be more comfortable. Any syntax errors, those will be highlighted here. Okay, that would be better. But here anyway, we are creating dummy files. You can use Vim also. See, I'm creating another file via git bash. File3.txt. See
Okay.
here, it's in the command mode. Go to escape mode. Insert mode came in. Now I'll type something like this is my another text file. How do you save it? Have you practiced this working with the Vim editor?
Yes, madam. Now we have to type press escape and
Escape.
EQ,
Column.
EQ,
Semicolon WQ.
Colon
WQ,
WQ exclamatory.
W.
So it will
exclamatory.
save and close. Glad you are all doing the hands-on. Keep up the same pace throughout the course. So done. We have created a file. Now tell me, where is this file 3 quickly? Where is this file 3?
Status.
Local directory.
Local
Of course, it
repository.
is in the Git demo. I mean to say, where is this file 3?
Working
Whether it
directory.
is
Working directory.
yeah,
Working
local
directory.
That's what I'm asking. Of course, it is in the Git demo. Okay, Git demo is my working directory. The same Git demo can be called as a local repository. Right now, the file is working directory. It will ask us to unpack. See, I'm just doing it for another file to show you another scenario. So just let us add it. I may also do git add. There is only one file. Whatever are there will be committed. Will be added. Okay, git add done. Now I'll do enter. Okay, so it is saying me to please keep muted. Please check your mic unmuted. Please keep muted. Please be cautious. Okay, please keep muted. Now git commit. Let me commit it. I'm just creating another file. Okay, another text file.
Ma'am, in starting, when you give ls command, file 1, file 2, file 3 is showing now. All these files are present in working directory.
Yes,
Already
these
we
are.
have moved file 1 and file 2 to local now. So
See,
there will
the
be backup
local.
or what?
It is in the local repository. Means, see here, Likita. Physically, it's the same directory, isn't it? It doesn't mean that you are moving out of it. That's the logic you have to understand. Let me tell you once again. See here. What we discuss, it's the same folder, right? It's nothing but your Git demo folder, right? This is your folder,
Okay,
Git demo.
got it, ma'am.
Yeah, in this, the file is in the same folder, file1.txt, okay, or else file2.txt. All of them will be here only. Okay, when you are when you want Git to version control, you will do git add all of them, so that Git will be tracking them. They are still in the same. But logically, with respect to the architecture, whenever you add it, you will say it is in the staging area. Then if you do commit, you will say it's in the local repository. Got it? When you do git
Yes,
add,
ma'am.
staging area. When you do git commit, local repository. When you just created them, working directory. Okay?
Okay.
Right. So I just created another file now, right? We already did that. We understood this very well, adding, committing. Now, okay, see, till now we are just creating a new files. But in the real practice, maybe we have also have to modify the existing files, isn't it? It's not always about creating a new file, correct? So let us see modifying this file. I'm using vim file3.txt. Okay. Now let's suppose I just want to put something like add another line added. Okay, let me save it, close it. Okay, done. I have made some modification. Can you tell me now, where is this modification? I'm asking only the modification, the change. Where is the change? Where is this change?
In working directory.
Exactly. Means the point you have to note here is again, Git works with respect to changes. You have to always remember this. Git works with respect to the changes. Means your change could be creating a new file, or else your change could be modifying the file, or else your change might be deleting a file. Git works with respect to the changes. That's all. Okay. So what you have to do now? Like earlier, just see the message, git status. It's not a new file, right? So see, it is not showing like not untracked. Rather, it was showing not staged, means unstaged. What is the difference between unstaged and untracked? See, you should be in a position to understand the meaning of these messages, right? What is the difference between unstaged and untracked? See,
Madam,
untracked,
madam, you mean the
Unstages.
change is updated only in the Git demo folder, not in the Git commit, right?
Git demo is the only one folder we have here.
Yeah, means the whatever the changes you have done, no, in the file
That is
3,
a working
it
directory.
is
We should check
updated.
in the working directory. It's in the working directory. The modification is in the working directory. See,
Okay,
Git
not in the,
demo.
yeah.
Git demo is a folder. In that, these are all the layers. Imagine them like a layers: working directory, staging area, local repos. These are all logical separation of the same folder. Your folder is only Git demo. Still anyone
Okay.
having the same confusion?
Madam,
See
can you
here.
open that file 3 page, file 3?
Please listen here. This is the desktop, okay? Git demo is the only one folder which is my local repository, which is where all the files are being version controlled by Git. Okay, this is only the one directory we have. This is called as a working directory. The same one is called as a local repository also. When you open it, files are available there. When you just create and leave them, we call them, they are in working directory. When you run git add command on those files, we'll call them as they are in the staging. We call them, we say, that's all. Logically, you don't have a directory, I mean, physically, you don't have a directory called working directory, local repository, and so on. Okay, understand this part. Tell me now, please.
No, ma'am,
Any question?
it's okay. Yeah, it's fine now.
Understood now?
Yes, madam.
See, now unstaged changes means it's not a new file. File is already there. File is already there in local repository. It was added, it was committed. Some modifications will be seen as unstaged changes. Untracked means it will be shown for new file. New file means it is not at all staged and committed, right? So that's the difference between unstaged and untracked. If it is a new file for the first time, you just created it and you are checking the status, it will be shown like untracked. In your file 3, is it an untracked file? Already we have placed it in local repository. Let me check. Let me show you. Git ls files. See, file 3 is already there. So it's no more untracked. It's being already tracked by Git. Only certain modifications are there. Got it, everyone? Still anyone having confusions? Any questions? Should I repeat any scenario before I proceed how to handle this? What should we do now? We'll discuss. Just before that, a quick confirmation. Anyone else with any questions there?
No, madam, it's clear.
Fine, ma'am. You can proceed.
Okay, all right. So yeah, Now, yes, some modification. Again, like I already said, Git works with respect to the changes. Remember this point. All these points you should remember. So, modification means again, see, it is telling you also add it and then commit it. Again, you have to move that modification to staging area. Move means it's not physically moving it. Okay. So you have to place them in the staging area, then you have to move them to local repository. So you can do it again in two ways. One method is git add file3.txt and then commit like we have learned. Git commit -m file modified, right? Some message relevant to what changes you are doing. This is one method. Or else what you can do, because it's already a file in the local repository, you can do git commit -a -m file modification or whatever message you want, file edited or whatever you want, right? So you can do either way because it's not a new file, You can do in a single line command, means in the single command with the add and commit. A means add. What is A here? Add. Okay. A stands for add. So you can do add and commit separately or else in a single command also. But for new files, you cannot do that way. Means you have to do separately only, like a git add file, then git commit -m. Got the difference, all of you? Understood? This message is very important. Messages are like comments. Comments means, see, by the end of today, I'll be doing some 5 commits. Tomorrow, I'll come back. If I see any commit ID, I should understand what that commit is all about, isn't it? So that's what the message is, mandatory and important. You should give some message so that it is relevant to what changes you have done. Yeah. Now, shall we do with a single command? Understood this? Yeah. Because it's not a new file, I can do the add and commit separately, or else I can do it in a single command with a flag, add and commit, like a message. Some message. This change is all about like a file3, right? Let's say file3 modified or edited. Done. Now, if you check the status, let me clear the screen. Okay, see, it was all clean, means whatever changes are there, everything were there in the local repository, right? Everything got into the local repository and it is all perfect. Now, of course, it's already there in local repository, but modification also was good. And yeah, we made a bunch of commits. To see all of them, git log online. See, if I just see this tomorrow, I don't remember. If I don't put the message, I don't know what this commit is about, right? But when I see the second file, okay, in this commit, the second file is modified, right? If you want that kind of understanding at a later point of time, that's where message command is important. I mean, message flag is important, right? Shall we take up another interesting scenario? Yeah. Let's take up another interesting point, another interesting scenario here. We'll do one thing. I'm again modifying this file3. Again, a line is added, some dummy line I'm writing. Save it. Okay, modification I have done. Can you tell me now, is this file3 having any unstaged changes or not? Is this file having any unstaged changes or not?
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
It does, isn't it? Check here.
Yes.
Obviously, unstaged changes means changes in the working directory. unstaged because the file is already there in local repository. Only certain changes are there in the working directory. So if you want to see those unstaged changes, git diff file3. Diff command will help you see the unstaged changes of the file. Can you see that? Which are unstaged? It will show you here with the plus symbol. Can you see the plus symbol before the third line? Third line is also in green color, right? Like it is unstaged change, right? So you can see the unstaged changes with the git diff of file3. Diff can be used in multiple ways. It can be used to see the differences between branches and all. We'll talk about those things also when we go by. So diff command will tell you the unstaged changes can be seen. So let us do one thing. I'm going to add it. Git add file3, done. Now if I run this, will I have any unstaged changes, or else is this file having any unstaged changes?
No.
No, obviously no, because we just added it, right? So what will be the output of git diff? No output, because no unstaged changes. Rather, this file is having staged changes, isn't it? Staged changes means these are staged. It is asking me to commit the changes. Commit the changes, it is asking means staged changes. Correct? So to see the staged changes of the file, git diff file staged. See, the same third line is shown under stage. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So that's how you can see any unstaged changes or staged changes of the file. Let me do one more thing. See, carefully follow here. Follow this carefully. This file is having some staged changes. Means everything is in the staging area. It's not having any unstaged changes. It is stuck up. Okay. It is not having any unstaged changes. Now what I'll do is I am going to modify this file again, isn't it? Because in real time I may be adding some changes, then I might have staged it. Later on I may come back and I want to edit it again, correct? So this may happen. We may be modifying the files, like there will be no sequence, right, to modify. So I just came in here. I'm adding again new line on this file. Okay, now tell me, is this file having staged changes?
You can use a nano editor also.
Hello. Is this file having unstaged changes or not?
Yes, it is having.
Unstaged changes it's having, right? So let's see. Unstaged changes with git diff file3. Yes, it is having some unstaged changes, right? Do you see that? Plus means this is unstaged. So tell me one more thing. Is this file having staged changes or not? Is it having staged changes or not?
Yes, we have.
Yes, definitely it's having. We already have staged some second line, right? I mean, third line is staged. See here, third line is staged. Fourth line is unstaged, right? Got the logic, all of you? Is the scenario clear for everyone?
Yes.
We keep
Yes.
on working on the file, so we might be seeing these scenarios. Sometimes the file may have both staged changes, unstaged changes, some changes staged, some changes unstaged, and at this
Madam, I
point,
still have confusion on staged and unstaged.
I'll come to your question, okay? At the end of the class, I'll re-explain that. Now, the file is having both staged and unstaged, correct? At this point, if you check the status, can you see that? Same file, file3 is shown under staged. The same file is shown under unstaged. Means here it represents, give me 1 second. Please keep muted everyone. Akshat, please keep muted. So here it says changes to be committed. Changes not staged. Changes to be committed means it represents that it is in the staging area. Here it says that it is in the working directory. The same file is shown under both the staging and working directory. Don't get confused. This could be the simple logic. Like we edited the file. Some changes were in the were in the staging area, whereas some changes were there in the still in the working directory. In that case, it may be shown like this. So don't get confused. It's a simple logic. Is this scenario clear? Should I repeat it? Let me summarize this. Okay, I'll summarize this scenario. Please listen this. See what we did actually. We have got some file. Okay, this file is already there in the staging area. Already there in the local repository. Now we modified this file. Correct? And the changes were there in the working directory, right? So at this point, these were unstaged, correct? Then I have done git add that file. So changes became staged, perfect. So now that's having only staged changes. Then later on what I did, I have again modified the file. So obviously this new line is unstaged. The second line is staged. Got it now? Yeah, first we modified the file. Okay, and then I have staged it. So the changes were staged. Later I have modified it again. So that third line is unstaged. Clear now all of you? Still any confusion in this part?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear now.
Third line is unstaged. Second line I have moved to staging area, but then I made again the third line which is unstaged, which is still in the working directory. So that's why second line case it was showing like in the staging area. Third line it was showing like a working directory. Got it now? I want every one of you to respond either through the chat or at least a confirmation so that
Yes,
I know
it's
you're
clear
not
now.
following.
Yes, it
Everyone
is
should
clear.
It's
follow.
clear now.
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Thank you. So now what should we do? Like it was asking us to add and commit. You may add and commit separately, or because it's not a new file, I'll do git commit -a add and commit. Let's say lot many modifications, edited the file thoroughly. Done. Now, yes, everything will be set now. Whatever unstaged changes will be staged and committed, and whatever staged changes will be committed. Done. All the changes were in local repository. It was clean and clear, right? So that could be some use case when you're working in the repository. So this is how you can understand without any confusion whenever you see the same file under both staged and unstaged cases, right? So now if you check the log, yes, we made a lot of commits. I would like to see the brief log. One line, see here, right? So many commits were done. And also another simple command, git show. If you want to see what changes happen here, git show that commit ID. Right click, you will see the paste option and see what changes happened in this commit. In this commit, these two lines were added and committed. So that's how you can check what changes happened in a particular commit. There are also better ways to visualize this. We'll discuss those things also as we progress. Okay, we'll be getting into all the advanced concepts step by step. We'll learn everything perfectly. Once the picture is perfectly clear, we'll go to the next concept and so on. And whatever commands we have executed, the complete history of our commands, whichever I have executed in the class, for your quick reference will be available in the drive. Have you all got this git folder? not this one. Okay, let me open that for you. Drive. Have you all got access to this Git folder wherein you are having these commands? So just go through them, and here all the commands will be there for your hands-on. Any questions in today's class? Were all these queries clear? And from tomorrow onwards, to share the videos and the course content, you can reach your organizers for confirmation. All the confirmed students, like whoever got enrolled, will be given access to the notes and videos from tomorrow's session. So reach your organizers and get the confirmation and enrollment done. Any more questions regarding the concepts or anything else?